how can we say that we can set out to have a time of refreshing right now? Well, I can tell you how we can say that. Because he that believes on me, out of his belly shall flow a river of living water. That is an if-then statement. If you do this, this will happen. The good things of life, they come from God. All right, let's talk about this. If you knew the gift of God, and who it is who speaks to you, not me, but Jesus, you would ask of Jesus, and he would give you that living water that you'd never thirst again. And why don't you ever thirst again? Because all those things that you thirst for, that Jesus, that Jesus is really the source of that joy, the source of that strength, the source of everything you need. All those other things you seek for to fill that need, which don't really fill the need. He truly fills it. He fills the need that you have for meaning, for purpose, for a sense of goodness, for truth, for a real understanding of what your life is and what it's about, for real progress in your life. He fills that need. And then you're not thirsty anymore. So you don't try to fill that need with the other things that are no good for you. So you don't have false idols. That's what that is. It's when you're trying to fill the need that is intended to bring you to God. Not that God gives you a need, but that, no, God made you a part of him. So when you don't have him in your life, you have a need, you have a hole there. So he fills you up with the living water that you never thirst again, and you won't be thirsting after those other things. Think about the woman at the well who he spoke that to. She had 5 husbands, and the one she was with at the time wasn't even really her husband. That's what Jesus told her, right? Just think about the kind of need that would cause a woman to go from man to man, looking for that, I need this something that's just not filling me. I can't find the one that satisfies me. I feel good for a little while, but I'm not really feeling good in the end. And I got to go find somebody else who has the attributes that I liked in that one at first. But what is that attribute? What is that thing that she wanted so much? What did she really want? You know, she came out with some good questions to Jesus. You know, our fathers, they worship on this mountain over here. But you Jews say that we're supposed to worship in Jerusalem. Now, what's in the heart of that question? She wanted to know who to worship and how to worship. She wanted true worship with God, which is why Jesus answered her the way that he did, because he always answers people according to what they ask, right? The time is coming when they'll neither worship in this mountain or in Jerusalem. The true worshipers will worship the Father in spirit and truth, and the Father seeks such to worship him. And she knew in her heart that she was one who sought to worship him that way, but she didn't know how. So what was Jesus' answer? If you knew the gift of the living water and who it is that speaks to you, you would ask and he would give you, and you would never thirst again. What is this living water? It's the very Spirit of God. And it's what I'm talking about, how he flows into you and you flow into him when you turn your eyes to him, when you put your faith in him, when you believe in him in any way, even if you're not believing God for God like I was talking about, but believing God for whatever, with just putting faith in God for whatever, is also getting that living water flowing. But I'll say to you that I believe that it doesn't flow nearly as well as when you just believe for him, relationship with him. And it doesn't mean that you need more from him. That's important, because you already have all of him. Well, what it does mean is you want the relationship to continue and to build. Well, let's say it grows. It does grow. And you are, in a sense, believing for your relationship to grow. But you don't really have to believe for your relationship to grow, because it will grow as long as it continues. And that's it. As long as you keep having interaction with him. You keep on entering into him like that water, and him entering into you, then you are getting to know one another. And he is changing you on the inside, making you more like him. Oh, how good that is. See, what I realized was that people in Jesus' time would have to go to the well to get the water. But He was saying he would give you a well that would spring up inside you unto everlasting life. You don't have to go to the well to get it. It's already here. It's right there, and it is springing up into everlasting life. But it doesn't necessarily do that on its own, because it does take you believing in him, putting your faith in him, and he'll spring forth. And when he does spring forth and you put your faith in him, it just becomes more and more easy to believe. It becomes that cycle of ever increasing returns. You believe, he springs forth. And it's easier there's more to believe in, and then he springs forth. And that's how it's a well springing up unto everlasting life, because it keeps redoubling and redounding unto the glory of God inside your heart. How exciting is that? Truly exciting. What is going to help you the most? What's going to affect you the most? What's going to draw you the most? Well, it's the experience itself, isn't it? The experience of entering into God and him entering into you. How can we say that we can set out to have a time of refreshing right now? Well, I can tell you how we can say that. Because he that believes on me, out of his belly shall flow a river of living water. That is an if-then statement. If you do this, this will happen. So, when you believe in him, out of your belly flows a river of living water. When you put your faith in him in any way, he begins to flow. He flows into your heart. He flows through your heart, and he begins to move and do something. He'll show himself to you. I can't say that any more needs to be said, but more does need to be experienced. And that's what it comes down to, too, is you're experiencing it. That's what makes it good. You can say you have it, but experiencing it is what makes it what it really is. It's what makes us Christians different than anybody else. That's the only thing that makes us different, because we're still flawed, right? The only thing that makes us different is our access to God. But what good is access if you're not indulging in it? In other words, the only thing that really makes us different is God moving in our lives. Because God is moving in our lives, and because we're moving with him, that's what makes us Christians. That's the point of being a Christian. If you don't have that, you're like what Paul said, that we'd be of all men the most miserable if it didn't have any real effect. If you do this, this will happen. So, when you believe in him, out of your belly flows a river of living water.